for you.
Thank you so much, love. Thank you. I'm going to send it by, hold on. I will send it probably by messenger, the website link, so you can both have a look. I can even put you both in the same group to send you the link, and you can give me both your feedback. If ever you're interested, we can set a Zoom to have more information, and I can bring in the the other person for quantum to help us in the other.
We're definitely recorded now. And I just want to jump on in. Welcome to the Art of Learning Self-Love. And I am grateful today that we can all come together in this place. One of the subject matters today that I wanted to cover was following the spiritual principles or law. And the reason why I want to cover that is because of how important it really is for us to get into that space of understanding the decrees that we make with our walk in our life. So I want to read real quick one scripture, because I do like to keep scriptures because for me that was part of my journey. In my process, I had found all the stuff in regards to the law of attraction, manifesting, how to begin dealing, all the stuff that was out there. I also found while I was sitting reading the scriptures. So today I want to read Deuteronomy 26:16 through 19. The Lord, your God, or source, spirit, universe, commands you this day to follow these decrees and laws. Carefully observe them with all of your heart, with all of your soul. You have declared the day that the Lord is your God, and that you will walk in his ways, that you will obey him. And the Lord has decreed this day that you are his people, his treasured possession, as he promised, and that you are to keep all of his commands. He has declared that he will set you in praise, fame, honor, high above all the nations he has made, and that you will be a people holy to the Lord your God, as he promised. So the reason why that for me is so important is because that really shows us the position that he has exalted us to a higher standard, a higher position. So whether or not we're looking at it from whatever religious background, that part's really not the point, because we're all to come together and not forsake any assembly. We're all to actually become united and one. And that's the purpose of all the tribes coming back together. And it doesn't matter which religious sect that I've read upon and looked at, there's so many common threads between them all. And it's just based upon the space when and where it was brought together and everything else. So really, I like the fact that we all have the opportunity for decreeing the law for ourselves, where we are and where we stand each and every single day. What we make a decision upon and what we think about is what we bring about. Living in that quantum field and working upon it. This last week, I had my own little circumstance and situation that sort of arose. And sometimes people will step out of bounds and then project upon you their response when they did not receive the result that they wanted. And I had to go through that this week, and it was such a betrayal. And I had to acknowledge.
Can you explain that more deeply, because I want to understand what happened?
Well, I mean, the situation itself is rather irrelevant at this point. But the topic is very relevant, because I know that people have different things all the way around in their life that they need to work on. And people have circumstances. So what I'm going to use as an analogy in life. If I was driving down the road and I'm cruising and everything's great going down that road, but a situation or a circumstance, and it can be the people and the events in our life. It doesn't matter if it's a person or the event or a circumstance. There are things that come along that path and can completely disrupt the field of life that we're working on and dealing with. So as we're walking through it, what happens is sometimes it can be the betrayal of someone really just not listening and acknowledging you, and it can create, instead of the response, a reaction. And what we have to do is be in that space of protecting ourselves and bringing our own energy into check and acknowledging when somebody else isn't respecting those bounds. What is it that we're supposed to do? You know, if we are decreeing and living our life by the law, we're going to actually be able to stand up in a space and keep a good standing within ourselves and our own character. We don't have to fall to other behaviors that are inappropriate. And
No, we
that's
stay firm. We stay firm in our truth.
yes. So this week, as my life sort of I had this major playing field that I had built in my quantum field, and I was working through a lot of different things, but I had one circumstance that just sort of came in and broke up the entire thing. And when that circumstance came in, I had to remember my importance of standing in the decreement of the decreeing of the things that I have spoken, the things that I have chosen, instead of allowing this to completely upset and spill out my whole life and become a space where I couldn't make it past it. I had to then go, no, how do I adjust and change the perspective lens and continue on? So I wanted to just share that, you know, being in a place where you are learning your boundaries in this, when you're walking through it, one of the most important parts is actually being able to realize the importance of expression of what you're feeling. And when somebody else doesn't respect that, it is your responsibility to actually acknowledge that and state that you have to put a proper bound in and remove. Sometimes you have to let go of things that you don't want to let go of. And that was what my week consisted of some things. Yes, Dr. Kim, please jump in.
Darla, I just had a thought that I've never had before. So I'd like to offer this and explore it. I'm not saying it's the truth, or maybe it's not even powerful, but it struck my heart deeply. I heard you mention the word betrayal. And what came to me, believe it or not, and I really have never thought this before, is that our soul cannot be betrayed. Consider the possibility that it is our mind, our ego, our view of how it should be that has us label something betrayal. And on the other hand, our soul is invincible. It is bulletproof. It is unbetrayable. I'm sure that's not even a word. But
Well,
is this resonating at all? Does this give
this
it gives me tremendous freedom, because when I look back in my life at all the circumstances where I said, this person betrayed me, I realize now that that was not my soul speaking. That was my ego construct, as Ruth Elizabeth would say, my pointy one.
yes.
Speaking. And so it gives me some freedom to look at those circumstances and at least untie that word, as opposed to have it a noose around me and around them. So I just offer that as
I think
little
that is beautiful, and I can't wait to be able to share that one. That is because I think that that's going to bring a lot of liberation to people. true liberation in people's lives, because how many times are we bound to the thought? And that's pretty much where I was going. Here we are with the betrayal. What we have to remember is working in that no matter what situation, that situation isn't actually affecting us. It's affecting a event or or like on the quantum field as we're building in our world. Here's where we are. We don't really build that world within. We build it around us. So every time one of these things come in, the betrayals or the hurts and the circumstances come in on us, it's actually breaking up a structure within it. So it's like looking at the road and coming up into the detours of life. So that was where I was headed with it, was going to talk about when we're cruising down the road, what we're doing is all of a sudden, if you're thinking about it, have you ever seen one of those videos where all of a sudden something bounced across the road, landed in front of someone, they swerve around it, and they're just, by the grace of whatever, they're free from it and set free? This is where we're at when we are actually taking an account to ourselves and who we are, and making sure that we're living in that soul of sovereign space and being the creators of our world and our life. We actually have the power to stand in a space and realize that that circumstance is outside of us, and our little avatars just running through life, and we have these issues and circumstances, but we have the choice of how we're going to allow that to affect us. But we're not trained to do that. So all of a sudden, that offense now gets so deep in us that we can't overcome it. And that's one of the things with betrayals and boundaries. When we have already set in and know our own truth of our boundaries, it is easy for us to realize when the frequencies and the vibrations change. If something comes up and you state, I don't like that, let's not do that, and that's not listened to, what's going to happen? There's going to be more of a progression. The next time, as you're continuing this dialogue of whatever, the next situation, here it is again, they reverted back to the same behavior and you don't like it. So you're going to become a little more aggressive or affirming or, direct, which other people, because of the ego, as you were mentioning, gets in the way, and they become so offended by it that it becomes the betrayal both ways, because you stood your ground. The other person received that as, oh, that's an attack. No, it was my boundary, but you didn't like it. So when we have those things, I was like, this last week when my whole world was rocked by one of these moments, I was like, wow, it's been so long. That literally felt like something bouncing across the median and into a whole nother lane in my life. And I went, where in the world did that come from? But I was able to navigate it. And I was able to navigate it with peace. And what I absolutely loved was when I was in the middle of it, because I've come together with so many like-minded individuals. What I have to really point out is the fact that I have such a soul tribe that while I was in the middle of it, all I had to do was just lean a little bit in and say, hey, do you guys just send me a little bit of, energy, send some, I'm doing a shift in my life. And it really, truly is a shift. And I was like, what an amazing piece of, content to help share with the people around the world, that you can actually navigate these moments and not be stuck. But it starts with actually having yourself, your own decreed place within yourself, so that you know what is your foundation and what's acceptable and what's not for you. And when you have that true core set, it doesn't matter what comes in, because you know who you are. And it allows you to continue to rise into that space and being in as it's written, That was the cool part, was I could actually find scripture that correlated that when you live by that decreed law, that law exists. There's nothing separating us from that. It is fact. And when we walk in the spiritual principles or the laws, that we can actually stand in an understanding how much of a treasured possession we are to ourselves and how important we are. So,
Darlene, it occurs to me that what you're saying mirrors a saying I'm very fond of, which is everything is a call for more self-love.
yes, it truly, truly is. That right there, I can completely concur. Like, I concur on that.
Thank you so much.
When we're going through life, I think it's really important that we use the life experiences that we have as the tools and the resources for others so that they can see, one, they're not alone, that none of us are ever alone, that we are connected and that we have similarities everywhere. And as long as we understand that, yes, we're all unique and individual to ourselves and our own path, our own call, our own development and everything else. But in the same mannerism, we need the acceptance and the love and the care from one another so that we know that we are truly bonded with each other and able to grow and develop it in a unity. And that unity is so important. Without unity, being divided, you fall short in everything. But coming together collectively in unity, you actually have such a network that allows you to completely be confident in everything that you're doing, because you know that you have your resources, you have support, you have encouragement, you have all the things that are necessary around you that are going to help to build and flourish you so that you can grow into everything that you need to become. And that is the importance of coming together. And that's what I found this week when my world went boom and I went, oh no. I went, wait, I'm okay. I have a team and I'm not alone. And I have people that I can turn to and navigate right on through this. That we have Reiki teachers who send protection while you're going through whatever you're going through. We have emotional leaders who are going to help and navigate you through whatever it is emotionally that you're dealing with. You have people who are going to just send the love and light that are going to be able to penetrate the darkness in the day and be able to eliminate the problems. We have such an extraordinary group. And right now, I'm going to go ahead and plug it. You guys need anything, make sure you reach out. We'll get you connected into Noble Bowman, because this really, truly is a high vibe tribe that is going to leave you in a place that's going to keep you covered, confident, and secure, and lift you to the next level wherever you're going. But
Darla, I can speak to this if you would like me to.
I would love for you to.
So I have not told this story before, and I'm surprised. I'm frankly going to tell it now.
Thank you for sharing, Dr. Kim.
So in 10 years ago, my former husband decided to leave our marriage.
After how many years of marriage, Dr. Kim?
20.
20 years, like my parents. They divorced after 20 years of marriage.
And I didn't have this community. In fact, I felt incredibly alone. I was too embarrassed to tell my family. I went to work. I'm a professor. I did my teaching, thank God. But other than that, I was almost a puddle on the floor. Even though I now no longer believe in the word devastation, I felt at the time devastated. And even though I tried a lot of things, it took me over 8 years to begin to come out of the darkness. And frankly, the darkness was so penetrating that while I never contemplated suicide, I was certainly living with despair, the deepest, darkest despair that felt like bathing in mud, bathing in mud all the time. And one day I came to the realization, after having tried therapy and groups and this and that and the other thing, that nobody was going to save me. Nobody was going to save me.
Except yourself.
Except myself. Yes, exactly. Exactly. And that was in year 8. And that was in year 8. And I look back now and I say, if I had had this community, if Noble Goldman existed then and I was a part of it, I would not have had 8 years of bathing in the mud, of feeling like I was in quicksand and could barely breathe sometimes. And I know that no matter what life has in store, no matter what tragedies may come to me, no matter what, I know that I will never, ever, ever, ever again return to that darkness. Because just as you said, Darla, we are here for each other in astounding ways. For most of the people on this platform, I've not met any of you face to face. Certainly, COVID has been an inhibitor. And we may not ever meet and be able to physically hug each other. But what we provide is way beyond the physical. And in fact, I have people in my life who I can touch and hug, and they don't provide for me, and I don't provide for them what I provide here and what is provided for me here. I said to Mark Santos yesterday, here's exactly what I said to him. I said, Mark, it is such a joy to love you. And it is such a joy to love the people in this community. And for the rest of my life, I told him, until I take my last breath, I know that I have a bottomless well of joy. A bottomless well of joy.
Tu es à côté de qui, là?
Now, Mona, can you hit your mic? But thank you, Dr. Kim, for that. I mean, that I know that there's got to be someone else out there that needs to hear that story and know that they are not alone. I know that myself personally, I've had my own battles along the way that I can actually state now that I'm the victor of. I can now walk through the gates and be, the victor of my story and be the hero of my own. And because when I was going through mine as well, I didn't have anybody that was teaching and growing, and it was just that era we just didn't have. There was some speakers, but nobody was really saying, hey, people, you need to get connected with your, with a coach, you need to talk. There was just no guidance for that. There was barely coming into group therapies and different things where people were coming together and socializing and talking with one another. The power of people and the shared story, having the interaction, regardless whether or not it's over FaceTime or whether or not it's actually one-on-one, or if it's in the group setting, as long as you're able to connect with somebody else, it doesn't matter if it's over video or if it's in person, because it's literally just knowing that somebody else is hearing you and having that you're no longer feeling isolated, alone.
Mhm.
And once you can break free from that space and realize what is really around you, and it's literally you, and whether or not you're taking the steps that are necessary to get you out of that isolation. You don't have to stay there. It's literally just reach out. And there are so many people on the sidelines waiting for you to just do it, but it has to start within. It has to begin, because love does not start outside. It starts within us. And when we have that space and know that we can begin doing the steps that are necessary because we are loving ourselves, it takes us further and allows us to go even deeper into the things and the circumstances, and allows us to uncover what it really boils down to, because it's not generally that space that's here in the conscious, the here and now. It is coming from a series of different events that are going along this timeline in your life that you can actually research all the way back to a core point of it could have been between the ages of 0 and 7, 7 to 14, 14 to 21, wherever it was in your vibrational story. We wrap all of this stuff up and we continue to repeat pattern over pattern within our life. And we're able to uproot that in this space and actually have that safe place. And that's the amazing part, is we have a safe place. And it's growing by leaps and bounds. So I want to ask anybody, does anybody know of anything this week that they may have come up against that hit your mic a couple times that may unlock that? But if you had anything this week that you came across in your life that just sort of knocked you off kilter, that made you feel like things are just not going the way you thought they were going, and you got to rearrange some things. Any of that anxiousness, excitement for rebuilding, or the anxiety, because those two feelings are exactly the same. What we need to do is actually just acknowledge that it's the same chemical release in our body. So we can, if you're excited about doing it or if you're anxious about doing it, how do we transmute that and bring that energy back to us in a healthy manner? So that's what I want to do today, is if you have any area of your life that you just sort of need to transmute and bring it back into you in a healthy space, I want you to go ahead and take that into the fountain with you. So when we go into the fountain, what I do, if nobody has ever experienced that yet and you're new to what I do, is I take you from a moment where you literally let down and allow yourself to acknowledge yourself and your feelings, and anything that needs to be expelled or removed from you that that's no longer serving you. We would go with bringing the light in through the top of your head, down through your body, and we bury that into the ground and release it from us. Then we bring back up the light, bring it back up all the way through into the heavens, bring it back in and back through again. But we do it very systematically, allowing it to actually pick up everything and wash it clean in the fountain. So that's where we're about to go. So if you are in a safe place, Dr. Kim, put your eyes down. If not, just go along with it mentally, and you can keep your eyes open if you need to. So I just want you to know. So go ahead and take that moment right now and think about those situations that you need to just let go. They're no longer serving you in your life this week. And it's been plaguing you. It's been eating at you. You hear those little thoughts in the back of your mind. Whatever those things might be this week, they are no longer helping you. They're not getting you where you need to go. And you have the right to release it and let it go. So I want you to go ahead and imagine yourself in your garden now. And in this garden, before you is a fountain. When you see the fountain appear, you're going to see a couple steps up. And you're doing this all mentally. So you're just mentally imagining yourself stepping up and up, and then into the cooling waters. As this cascading effect of the fountain is coming down, you're seeing the light,
Mm.
the white light flowing down from this fountain that is above you. And you have all rights to walk into this healing fountain. As you're ready, go ahead and step in. And be ready. Open your mind and your crown chakra. Go ahead and allow that to open. And allow that waters to pour into who you are, into your mind. Taking and erasing the storyline that is no longer serving, that is longer helping you, not allowing you to be free from the things so that you can build the world in which you wish, that you desire to live in. Allow these things to sweep it away, wash it away, down into the jaw, down into the throat, and any story along with this that is not a pleasure, that is not good for you, that has been tearing you down or making you step back, or not allowing you to speak your whole truth or causing hesitation. I ask it right now that you go ahead and allow it to come through there and wash out that vibrational story down the shoulders, down the arms, and into the fingertips, back up and into the heart. And anytime we have any of these things, I know that we have a lot of stuff that goes to our heart. Take this time right now and allow this light to wash through, cleanse it, restore it, down into the solar plex, into the sacral, down into the root of our very being, down our legs, into the calves, and into our feet. And take this light and literally dump it down into the ground as far away from you as possible. Press it all the way to the core of Gaia. Allow this to go in and take root and be deposited as far away from you as possible, because it is no longer serving you, allowing you a free clearing field where you can create. Bring back up the light into your feet, into your calves, into your thighs, up into the root, into the sacral, the solar plex, the heart, into the throat, into the third eye, into the heavenlies, out the crown chakra, up into the heavenlies. Now I ask that we go ahead and be restored to the foundations of the earth, the way it was created when it was all began from the beginning. What is rightfully ours. We go ahead and bring that in right into the mind, giving us a new story to be able to be everything that we intend to be, that is going to be serving and pleasing to everyone around us as well as ourselves. Into our jaw, into our throat, allowing us to speak our truth, and setting our proper boundaries, and having the love and respect that we deserve. Down into our shoulders, down our arms, into our fingertips, back up and into our heart, where that can take and set root, where the truth of who we are is allowed to grow and develop and be all that we're meant to be. Down into the solar plex, the sacral, and our root, that we can stand firm in who we are. Down into our thighs, into our calves, into our feet. And let's go ahead and bring that light back up, because that healing restoration power is totally surging through us. This is ours and meant to be ours forevermore. Up into the root, into the sacral, the solar plex, the heart, our shoulders, down our arms, into our fingertips, back up and into our throat. Let us speak joy, peace, love, patience, kindness, goodness, self-control. Into our jaw, into our third eye, so we can see clearly. And up into the heavenlies, and be thankful for this today, because we have true restoration healing. And when you're ready, go ahead and open your eyes.
So beautiful.
Beautiful. Thank you, Darla.
You're welcome. Does anybody want to add anything today
Mm.
after the fountain? We've
No,
got
that
about
was beautiful. That was beautiful.
Thank you.
So good to see you.
You as well, Kasha. Thank you for jumping in. It's so early for you, and thank you. Because you must have got up at 5 again.
No, no, at this time.
What time is it for you, Kasha?
Right now it's 15 till 9 o'clock.
Oh, okay. It's 11:54 here in Montreal, almost 12.
Wow.
Not so
most-
bad.
So many different time frames.
Thank
Yep.
you for this time. My favorite brother is waiting for me, so I'm gonna go be with him and share the love.
Much love.
Thank
for
you.
sharing, Dr. Kim. I'm sending you all my love to
Thank you.
everyone. I got disconnected when you were speaking. I received a phone call from